Have you ever encountered a book that seems to hold secrets beyond imagination? The Ethiopian Bible, often overlooked and misunderstood, is one of the most mysterious and controversial religious texts in existence. While most people are familiar with the Bible in its standard form, few are aware of the Ethiopian version, which holds ancient knowledge, fascinating stories, and sacred scrolls that the rest of the world has either discarded or never seen. Ethiopia, a country steeped in rich history, has long been a place of mystery. Not only is it home to one of the oldest civilizations in the world, but it is also the only African nation that was never colonized. This unique status allowed Ethiopia to preserve its heritage, culture, and religious traditions in ways that many other nations could not. But today we focus not on the country itself, but on the extraordinary artifact it holds, the Ethiopian Bible. Ethiopia's religious legacy. Ethiopia's history is intertwined with the Bible, not as a religion that arrived with foreign missionaries, but as a civilization that embraced Christianity centuries before many other nations. Ethiopia's Christianity dates back to the 4th century, long before it spread to other parts of Africa and Europe. In fact, Ethiopia is home to the oldest organized Christian church in the world, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, known locally as Tewahedo. The Ethiopian Bible, known for containing 88 books, is far older and more expansive than the widely known King James Version (KJV) Bible, which contains only 66. In addition to the Old and New Testaments, the Ethiopian Bible includes several apocryphal books that many other Christian denominations do not accept. These books offer additional insights into the teachings and stories of the Bible, many of which have been lost or hidden in other versions. The origins of the Ethiopian Bible. Long before Christianity was introduced to the region, Ethiopia already possessed its own written texts, believed to be inspired by divine knowledge. The people of Ethiopia, specifically in the region of Axum, developed a unique Christian tradition that thrived independently. The scrolls and scriptures that constitute the Ethiopian Bible predate the arrival of Christianity in Ethiopia, which came via the conversion of King Azana in the 4th century. According to legend, the first emperor of Ethiopia, Menelik I, was the son of the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon of Israel. The story tells that Menelik brought the Ark of the Covenant to Ethiopia, establishing the country as the true spiritual home for the Israelite people. The Ethiopian Bible's unique nature and connection to this story make it an extraordinary document that has withstood centuries of external pressure and influence. Ethiopian Christianity and the Bible's significance. Unlike many other nations that received Christianity as an imported faith, Ethiopia was a Christian nation from its very beginning. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church has kept the faith alive unchanged in its essence, through centuries of invasions, including Muslim conquests, European colonization attempts, and even internal struggle. Through all of this, the Ethiopian Bible, written in Ge'ez, an ancient Ethiopian language, has survived. A remarkable discovery was made when a 6th century illustrated manuscript of the Gospels, written in Ge'ez, was found in a monastery atop a mountain in Ethiopia. The book, which had been hidden for centuries, is considered one of the oldest Christian texts ever discovered, and it serves as a testament to the ancient Christian roots of Ethiopia. The influence of the Queen of Sheba. To understand the significance of the Ethiopian Bible, we must first look at the historical and biblical figure of the Queen of Sheba. In the 10th century BCE, Sheba is said to have visited King Solomon in Jerusalem, seeking wisdom and knowledge. The Bible tells us of her wealth, beauty, and intelligence, but it leaves out a crucial detail. She and Solomon had a son, Menelik, who would later become the first emperor of Ethiopia. The historical link between the Queen of Sheba and Solomon's dynasty in Ethiopia has been corroborated by both archaeological evidence and genetic studies, which suggest that Ethiopian people have ancestral connections to regions like Egypt, Israel, and Syria. This further strengthens the claim that the Ethiopian Bible is not merely a religious text, but a piece of history, carrying with it the legacy of this ancient connection between Africa and the Middle East. The Ethiopian Bible's hidden books. The most remarkable aspect of the Ethiopian Bible is the presence of books that are not found in other Christian Bibles. These texts are known as the pseudepigrapha, works falsely attributed to biblical figures. Some of these books, like the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees, were once widely accepted but were later excluded from the Christian canon by authorities in other parts of the world. The Ethiopian Bible also includes the Gospel of the Hebrews, which contains teachings of Jesus that were never included in the Western biblical canon. These unique scrolls provide invaluable insight into the religious practices, teachings, and customs of the early Christian church in Ethiopia, offering a view of Christianity's evolution that is not seen in the more widely accepted versions of the Bible. The rejection of the Ethiopian Bible. Despite its long history and historical significance, the Ethiopian Bible has been rejected by the wider Christian community. The reasons for this exclusion are varied, with many pointing to the additional books and their non-canonical status. The Council of Nicaea in 335 AD, and the First Council of Constantinople, were pivotal in determining which books were deemed divinely inspired and suitable for inclusion in the Bible. When the Bible was first translated from Hebrew and Greek into Latin by Jerome in the 4th century, many books were left out of the final translation. These omissions became further solidified by the development of the King James Bible in the 7th. As a result, the Ethiopian Bible's additional books were never accepted by mainstream Christian denominations, contributing to its relative obscurity outside of Ethiopia. The political and religious power struggles. In addition to theological debates, there were political factors at play in the rejection of the Ethiopian Bible. The Roman Empire's control over the Christian Church played a significant role in determining which texts were included in the Bible. Emperor Constantine in particular sought to unify the Christian faith under a single standardized canon to reinforce the power of the Church and the state. This led to the exclusion of many texts that did not align with the political and theological agendas of the time. Books like the Book of Enoch, which describe angelic rebellion and visions of the afterlife, were seen as too controversial and did not fit with the empire's preferred interpretation of Christian doctrine. The Ethiopian Bible, which retained these texts, became an anomaly in the larger Christian world. The survival of the Ethiopian Bible, despite centuries of efforts to suppress it, the Ethiopian Bible has endured. It has been kept safe by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, preserved in monasteries and churches throughout the country. The Ethiopian Bible remains a central part of the Ethiopian Christian faith, with believers still reading from it in daily worship. In recent years, the Ethiopian Bible has garnered renewed interest, as scholars, religious leaders, and even the general public seek to uncover its secret. Efforts have been made to translate the Ethiopian Bible into more languages, allowing a wider audience to explore its hidden texts and gain insight into Ethiopia's unique Christian heritage. The early history and preservation of the Ethiopian Bible, pre-4th century, 4th century. To understand the full significance of the Ethiopian Bible, we must first explore the rich and unique history of Ethiopia itself. Long before the arrival of Christianity, Ethiopia was home to one of the most ancient and enduring civilizations in the world. This civilization, known for its vast cultural and religious heritage, played a key role in the development and preservation of one of the most fascinating and controversial Bibles ever to exist. Ethiopia, unlike many other ancient nations, was never colonized, allowing its traditions and spiritual practices to flourish in isolation. Christianity in Ethiopia did not arrive from external missionaries but developed organically within the region. This part of the story explores the origins of Christianity in Ethiopia, the rise of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, and how the Ethiopian Bible was preserved through centuries of trials and tribulation. Ethiopia's ancient Christian roots. Ethiopia's connection to Christianity can be traced back to the 4th century, but the country's religious history dates far earlier. The Kingdom of Aksum, located in what is now modern-day Ethiopia, was one of the world's most advanced civilizations by the 1st century AD. Aksum's rulers maintained extensive trade networks, and were in contact with both the Roman and Byzantine Empire. It was in this rich cultural and spiritual contexts that Christianity was introduced. According to tradition, Christianity entered Ethiopia when King Ezana of Aksum converted to the faith in the early 4th century, making Ethiopia one of the first nations to officially embrace Christianity. However, Christianity in Ethiopia was not the same as in the Roman Empire or in other parts of Europe. The Ethiopian Church developed independently, preserving many ancient Christian texts and practices that were later abandoned or lost in other Christian traditions. The influence of the Queen of Sheba and the Ark of the Covenant. One of the most intriguing elements of Ethiopian religious tradition is the story of the Queen of Sheba and her connection to King Solomon. As the legend goes, the Queen of Sheba, whose kingdom was in Ethiopia, traveled to Jerusalem to meet King Solomon and seek his wisdom. While the Bible recounts her visit, the Ethiopian version of the story includes a crucial detail. The Queen of Sheba and King Solomon had a son, Menelik I, who would become the first emperor of Ethiopia. Menelik, according to Ethiopian tradition, brought the Ark of the Covenant to Ethiopia, where it has remained to this day, hidden from the rest of the world. The Ark is believed to be housed in the Church of St. Mary of Zion in Aksum, Ethiopia. This connection to the Ark of the Covenant and the royal lineage of King Solomon gave Ethiopia unique status in the Christian world, one that remains significant today. The Ethiopian Bible, which contains books that other Christian traditions do not recognize, is a direct reflection of this ancient, royal connection. Its preservation is tied to Ethiopia's special relationship with the divine, rooted in the belief that the country is the true spiritual home of the Israelite people. The rise of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. By the 4th century, when Christianity became the state religion of Ethiopia, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church began to take shape. This church, which is still in existence today, has maintained many ancient Christian traditions, including its own version of the Bible. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church has always held the Ethiopian Bible in high regard, seeing it as the true representation of Christian teachings, unaltered by foreign influence. The Church's focus on scripture and religious texts was evident in the construction of monasteries, churches and schools across Ethiopia. These institutions became the center of learning and preservation for the sacred writings of the Church, including the Ethiopian Bible. The Bible, written in Ge'ez, an ancient Ethiopian language, was carefully copied by hand, and its scrolls were meticulously preserved in monasteries, many of which were built in remote areas to protect them from invasions and natural disasters. The importance of these scrolls cannot be overstated, as they contained not only the texts of the Old and New Testaments but also additional books that were excluded from other Christian traditions. These books, including the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees, offer unique insights into the ancient world, from the creation of the world to the stories of angels and demons, and provide context to the stories that we are familiar with today from the Bible. The Ethiopian Bible and its scrolls. The Ethiopian Bible's unique compilation of 88 books includes some of the most significant texts that were either left out or never included in other versions of the Bible. These books are considered by Ethiopian Christians to be part of the divine canon, and their inclusion reveals much about the early Christian church in Ethiopia. One of the most notable aspects of the Ethiopian Bible is its connection to ancient traditions that predate Christianity in Ethiopia. Many of the scrolls in the Ethiopian Bible are thought to have been preserved by the people of Ethiopia long before Christianity arrived in the country. These scrolls were written in Ge'ez, which was the liturgical language of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, and their preservation was central to the church's identity and mission. The preservation of the Ethiopian Bible. The preservation of the Ethiopian Bible was not an easy task. Ethiopia over the centuries has faced numerous challenges, including invasions, attacks, and internal struggles. The country's religious heritage was often under threat, yet the Ethiopian Bible survived these trials largely due to the dedication of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and the faith of the Ethiopian people. One of the most significant events in the history of the Ethiopian Bible occurred in the 1930s, when Italy, under the rule of Mussolini, invaded Ethiopia. The Italian forces, intent on conquering the country, burned monasteries and churches, attempting to destroy Ethiopia's religious heritage. However, despite these attacks, many of the ancient manuscripts were hidden or smuggled away, ensuring that the Ethiopian Bible survived. Even after Ethiopia was attacked by Muslim forces, the Bible remained intact, symbolizing the resilience of the Ethiopian people and their unwavering commitment to preserving their spiritual heritage. The Ethiopian Bible's survival despite centuries of war, invasion, and conflict is a testament to the strength of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and its dedication to keeping its sacred texts alive. The importance of the Ethiopian Bible in the 21st century. Today, the Ethiopian Bible continues to be of great significance to Ethiopian Christians and the wider Christian world. Despite being relatively unknown outside of Ethiopia, the Bible holds a wealth of historical and theological knowledge that is crucial to understanding early Christianity. In recent years, there has been growing interest in the Ethiopian Bible, with scholars and theologians seeking to study and understand the texts that have been preserved in Ethiopia. New translations are being made, and academic studies are helping to reveal the depth and richness of Ethiopia's religious history. The Ethiopian Bible's hidden texts and its unique canon. The Ethiopian Bible stands apart from other Christian texts not only because of its ancient roots but also because of the unique and expansive collection of books it contains. Unlike the 66 books found in the King James Version (KJV) of the Bible, the Ethiopian Bible includes 88 books encompassing not only the canonical Old and New Testaments but also a variety of additional texts that were excluded or lost in other Christian traditions. These texts offer invaluable insight into early Christianity, its theological debates and its evolution over time. This part of the documentary explores these hidden texts, the reasons they were excluded from other Bibles, and the significance of their inclusion in the Ethiopian canon. The broader and narrower canons. The Ethiopian Bible is composed of two different canons, the broader canon and the narrower canon. The broader canon contains the full 88 books, including a wealth of additional writings that provide a deeper understanding of biblical history, prophecy and doctrine. The narrower canon, established by Emperor Haile Selassie in the 20th century, contains 72 books and omits some of the additional texts found in the broader canon. The existence of two distinct canons within the Ethiopian Church highlights the complexity and evolving nature of biblical interpretation. The broader canon is regarded as the more complete and traditional version, containing ancient texts that are considered divinely inspired by Ethiopian Orthodox Christians. The narrower canon, while still respected, reflects later theological decisions, possibly influenced by political or social pressures. The Book of Enoch and other pseudepigrapha. One of the most famous and controversial books found in the Ethiopian Bible is the Book of Enoch. This ancient text, which is attributed to the great-grandfather of Noah, provides detailed accounts of the fallen angels, the Watchers, who descended from heaven and corrupted humanity. The Book of Enoch explores themes of divine judgment, the fate of the wicked, and the mysteries of the universe, ideas that were too radical or esoteric for many early Christian theologians. The Book of Enoch was excluded from the Western Christian canon during the Council of Nicaea in 35 AD, and it was largely forgotten in the broader Christian world. However, in Ethiopia, the book was preserved as part of the Bible, offering a fascinating glimpse into early Christian cosmology and apocalyptic thought. Its survival in the Ethiopian Bible speaks to the unique theological path that Ethiopian Christianity followed, diverging from the more familiar trajectory of European Christianity. In addition to the Book of Enoch, the Ethiopian Bible contains several other books known as pseudepigrapha. These are texts that were falsely attributed to biblical figures, or written centuries after the events they describe. While many of these works are not accepted by other Christian traditions, they provide critical context for understanding the development of early Christian doctrine and the struggles to define sacred texts. The Book of Jubilees. Another important book in the Ethiopian Bible is the Book of Jubilees, which recounts the history of the world from creation to the giving of the law at Sinai, but in a way that is much more detailed than the Genesis account found in other Bibles. The Book of Jubilees emphasizes the importance of observing the Hebrew calendar and the laws of the Torah, suggesting that these were divinely ordained long before they were formally given to the Israelites. The Book of Jubilees provides a different perspective on familiar biblical stories, such as the creation of the world, and the lives of the patriarchs. It also offers an expanded narrative of the Exodus, with additional details that were omitted from the standard Bible. Like the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees was excluded from the Western Christian canon, but it remains an essential part of the Ethiopian Bible, offering a richer understanding of the ancient Jewish and early Christian tradition. The Gospel of the Hebrews. The Ethiopian Bible also contains the Gospel of the Hebrews, an early Christian text that is believed to have been written in Hebrew or Aramaic, the language spoken by Jesus and his disciples. The Gospel of the Hebrews offers a unique perspective on the life of Jesus, with some scholars suggesting that it contains sayings of Jesus that are not found in the canon.
The rejection and suppression of the Ethiopian Bible. Despite its ancient origins and theological significance, the Ethiopian Bible has faced centuries of rejection and suppression from the broader Christian world. The story of the Ethiopian Bible's exclusion from the canonical Christian texts is one of theological politics, cultural dominance, and religious power struggles. As we continue our exploration, we will uncover the reasons behind the rejection of the Ethiopian Bible, the forces that work to suppress its existence, and the long-lasting impact of this exclusion on Christian history. The political and religious struggles of early Christianity. In the early centuries of Christianity, the Christian faith was not unified, but was instead a complex network of different communities, each with its own interpretations of Scripture and practices. This diversity of belief created tension, as church leaders sought to establish a common doctrine that would unite the rapidly expanding Christian world. In 3025 AD, the First Council of Nicaea was convened by Emperor Constantine, who aimed to settle doctrinal disputes and establish a uniform Christian faith. One of the major outcomes of the council was the creation of the Nicene Creed, which outlined the essential beliefs of Christianity. However, the council also addressed the issue of which texts should be included in the Christian Bible. At the time, there were many different Gospels, letters, and apocryphal works circulating within Christian communities. Some of these texts were widely accepted by certain groups, but were considered heretical by others. The leaders of the First Council of Nicaea, as well as later councils, began the process of selecting which books would be included in the New Testament. This process, which spanned several centuries, was influenced by political and theological considerations, as church leaders sought to consolidate power and create a unified Christian doctrine. The exclusion of the Ethiopian Bible's books. The Ethiopian Bible's additional books, such as the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees, were rejected during the canonical debates that took place in the 4th. These books were seen as controversial because they contained theological ideas and cosmological views that did not fit within the framework of Orthodox Christianity, as defined by the early Church Council. For example, the Book of Enoch presents a vivid and detailed account of the fallen angels, the Watchers, and their descent to earth, where they corrupt humanity. This narrative was considered too fantastical by many church leaders and deviated from the more straightforward theological messages of the canonical gospel. Similarly, the Book of Jubilees includes a detailed retelling of the events of the Old Testament but emphasizes the importance of following Jewish laws and traditions, which made it incompatible with the emerging Christian doctrine. In the West, the rise of the Roman Catholic Church further marginalized texts, like those in the Ethiopian Bible. The Church, led by the Pope in Rome, sought to consolidate authority over Christian doctrine and practice. The inclusion of additional non-canonical books in the Bible would have challenged the centralized power of the Catholic Church, which was increasingly concerned with maintaining control over Christian teachings and scripture. The Council of Nicaea and the standardization of Christian texts. The First Council of Nicaea, convened by Emperor Constantine in 3025 AD, was the first significant effort to standardize Christian beliefs and texts. The council focused on establishing the divinity of Jesus Christ, and addressing the Arian controversy, which questioned the nature of Christ's relationship to God the Father. However, the council also had a lasting impact on the Christian Bible, as it began the process of determining which texts were considered divinely inspired and which would be excluded. The exclusion of certain texts, including many of the additional books found in the Ethiopian Bible, was largely a political decision. Church leaders wanted to ensure unity and consistency within the Christian faith, and having multiple differing versions of the Bible created division. As a result, many early Christian texts that were seen as too radical, too complex, or too different from the emerging orthodoxy were discarded. As time went on, the Catholic Church, along with other Western Christian traditions, increasingly rejected the idea that the Ethiopian Bible's additional books were legitimate parts of the Christian canon. This exclusion was formalized over time, and became the standard practice in the Western Christian world. The Ethiopian Bible, with its unique set of scriptures, was thus marginalized and rejected as an authoritative text. The role of the Roman Empire in shaping the canon. The rise of the Roman Empire and its eventual adoption of Christianity as the state religion under Emperor Constantine had a profound impact on the development of Christian doctrine. The Roman Church sought to maintain its power and authority over the Christian community, and in doing so it played a significant role in shaping the Christian canon. The decisions made by church leaders in Rome, particularly during the 4th and 5th centuries, were heavily influenced by the political interests of the empire. The Roman Catholic Church, as the central religious institution of the Western Roman Empire, sought to consolidate Christian texts and teachings in a way that reinforced the power of the Church and its leader. This consolidation resulted in the exclusion of many texts that did not align with the Roman Church's preferred narrative. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, on the other hand, was able to preserve its own unique Christian tradition, holding on to the additional books that were discarded by the Western Church. The separation between the Eastern and Western Christian traditions, combined with Ethiopia's relative isolation, allowed the Ethiopian Bible to survive largely intact, despite efforts to suppress it. The suppression of the Ethiopian Bible during colonialism. Ethiopia's resistance to colonization is a defining aspect of its history. While most African nations were subjected to European colonization in the 19th and early 20th centuries, Ethiopia was able to maintain its sovereignty, defeating the Italians at the Battle of Adwa. However, this victory did not shield Ethiopia from the wider forces of colonialism that affected much of the African continent. During the period of Italian occupation in the 1930s, Ethiopia's religious heritage was once again threatened. The Italian military, under Mussolini's regime, sought to undermine the power of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and replace it with Roman Catholicism. Churches were destroyed, sacred texts were confiscated, and the country's religious identity was severely tested. Despite this, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church managed to protect many of its sacred scrolls, hiding them in monasteries and other secret locations. Even after the end of Italian occupation, Ethiopia's religious traditions remained under pressure, particularly as Western Christianity continued to dominate global discourse. The Ethiopian Bible, despite its ancient and authentic status, was often dismissed as an obscure relic of an isolated religious tradition. The revival and interest in the Ethiopian Bible. In recent decades there has been a growing interest in the Ethiopian Bible, especially among scholars, theologians and people seeking to understand the deep historical roots of Christianity. The rise of academic studies and translations of the Ethiopian Bible has brought attention to the many texts it contains, particularly the apocryphal works that were once deemed heretical or non-canonical by the Western Church. This revival of interest in the Ethiopian Bible also reflects a broader trend toward recognizing the diversity of Christian traditions. As more people become aware of the rich spiritual and cultural history of Ethiopia, the significance of the Ethiopian Bible continues to grow. The preservation of these sacred texts, many of which were hidden away for centuries, is a testament to the resilience of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and its commitment to maintaining its ancient Christian heritage. The rediscovery of the Ethiopian Bible and its modern significance. While the Ethiopian Bible remained largely hidden from the broader Christian world for centuries, modern interest in this ancient text has been steadily growing. In the 20th and 21st centuries, the Ethiopian Bible has begun to receive attention from scholars, theologians and religious seekers alike. Its rediscovery offers us a chance to explore the rich history of Ethiopian Christianity, the survival of its unique canon, and its significance to the broader Christian tradition today. The Ethiopian Bible's survival through the ages. The story of the Ethiopian Bible's survival is one of resilience. Despite centuries of political upheaval, religious suppression and foreign invasions, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church has managed to preserve its sacred texts. These texts have been carefully copied, studied and protected by Ethiopian monks and priests in monasteries, many of which are situated in remote and mountainous regions of Ethiopia. In the 1930s, during the Italian invasion of Ethiopia, the sacred manuscripts of the Ethiopian Bible were at risk of being destroyed. The occupying forces sought to eradicate Ethiopian religious identity, but the Ethiopian Orthodox Church worked tirelessly to safeguard the ancient scripture. Many manuscripts were hidden in monasteries or smuggled out of the country to prevent them from falling into the hands of the invaders. The survival of the Ethiopian Bible, despite these challenges, is a testament to the faith and dedication of the Ethiopian people. For centuries, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church has kept the scriptures alive, passing them down through generations. This continuity has allowed the Ethiopian Bible to remain a living tradition, deeply connected to the spiritual life of the Ethiopian people. Modern rediscovery and global interest. In recent decades, interest in the Ethiopian Bible has grown, particularly among scholars and religious research. The unique texts contained in the Ethiopian Bible, such as the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, and other apocryphal works, have sparked curiosity in both academic and religious circles. These texts provide alternative narratives of biblical events and figures, offering fresh perspectives on familiar stories. In the 20th century, Western scholars began to take notice of the Ethiopian Bible's significance. The discovery of ancient manuscripts and scrolls in Ethiopia, some of which were thought to be lost, has fueled academic interest in the country's religious heritage. The publication of translations of these texts has made them accessible to a wider audience, shedding light on the richness of Ethiopia's Christian tradition. Additionally, with the rise of digital technology and the internet, the Ethiopian Bible is more accessible than ever before. Digital archives and online resources have made it easier for people worldwide to study the Bible's ancient texts and learn about Ethiopia's unique Christian heritage. Universities and theological institutions have also begun to offer courses focused on Ethiopian Christianity, further raising awareness of the Ethiopian Bible's importance. Translation efforts and global accessibility. One of the challenges of sharing the Ethiopian Bible with a global audience has been the language barrier. The Ethiopian Bible is traditionally written in Ge'ez, an ancient language that is no longer spoken by the majority of Ethiopia. While Ge'ez is still used in liturgical services within the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, it remains inaccessible to non-Ethiopians who do not speak or understand the language. In recent years, however, there have been concerted efforts to translate the Ethiopian Bible into more widely spoken languages, including English, French, and Arab. These translations have allowed people around the world to engage with the Ethiopian Bible and explore its rich theological insights. Translation projects are not without their challenges, as the unique language and cultural context of Ge'ez often require careful interpretation and adaptation. Many Ethiopians believe that the act of translating their sacred texts into other languages is an important step in sharing their faith with the rest of the world. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church has made significant strides in translating portions of the Ethiopian Bible, including the Book of Enoch and other key texts, allowing scholars and interested readers to access them in modern language. However, these translation efforts are ongoing, and much work remains to be done to ensure that the full depth of the Ethiopian Bible's teachings is accessible to a global audience. The Ethiopian Bible's role in contemporary Christianity. While the Ethiopian Bible has been marginalized in other Christian traditions, it remains a central and vital part of Ethiopian Christianity. For Ethiopian Orthodox Christians, the Bible is not simply a sacred text, it is a living document that shapes their daily lives, prayers and rituals. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church continues to use the Ge'ez version of the Bible in its services, and many Ethiopian Christians view the Bible as an unbroken link to their ancient spiritual roots. The Ethiopian Bible also plays a unique role in shaping the identity of Ethiopia as a nation. The Bible's inclusion of additional texts, such as the Book of Enoch, which discusses the story of the fallen angels, resonates deeply with Ethiopian Christians, who see their church as the keeper of ancient Christian tradition. The preservation of these sacred texts is not only an act of religious devotion, but also an act of cultural preservation, ensuring that Ethiopia's unique history and spiritual heritage are passed down to future generations. Theological insights and challenges to mainstream Christian traditions. The inclusion of additional books in the Ethiopian Bible offers fresh theological insights that challenge some of the established doctrines of mainstream Christianity. For example, the Book of Enoch presents a detailed cosmology of the universe, explaining the origin of evil and the role of angels in human affairs. This apocalyptic text explores the nature of divine judgment and the end of the world, offering a vision of reality that is different from the more familiar teachings of the New Testament. Similarly, The Book of Jubilees reinterprets the history of the Old Testament, emphasizing the importance of adhering to Jewish laws and tradition. This book expands upon the Genesis account of creation, and provides an alternative timeline of biblical events, offering new perspectives on the figures of Adam, Noah, and Abraham. For many scholars and theologians, the Ethiopian Bible's inclusion of these texts challenges the concept of a single unified biblical canon. It raises important questions about the development of Christian doctrine, and the authority of church leaders in determining which texts should be included in the Bible. The Ethiopian Bible's unique collection of books offers an alternative view of Christianity that emphasizes the diversity of early Christian beliefs and practices. The future of the Ethiopian Bible. As interest in the Ethiopian Bible continues to grow, it is likely that its influence will spread beyond the borders of Ethiopia. Scholars, religious leaders, and laypeople alike are increasingly recognizing the importance of the Ethiopian Bible as a key to understanding the early Christian church and its diverse tradition. The ongoing translation efforts and academic studies of the Ethiopian Bible are opening up new avenues for exploration and discovery. However, the Ethiopian Bible's path to broader recognition and acceptance will not be without obstacle. The theological, political, and cultural divisions that have kept the Ethiopian Bible from being included in the wider Christian canon are deeply rooted in centuries of history. Yet as more people engage with the Ethiopian Bible and uncover its hidden texts, it may eventually find a place in the broader Christian tradition, offering a more complete picture of the faith's origins and the enduring legacy and global impact of the Ethiopian Bible. As we conclude our exploration of the Ethiopian Bible, we reflect on its enduring legacy and its growing impact on global Christianity. While the Ethiopian Bible has historically been marginalized and overlooked by many Christian traditions, it now stands as a powerful symbol of the resilience and strength of Ethiopia's spiritual heritage. Its unique scriptures, rich theological insights, and deep connection to the early Christian church make it an invaluable resource for understanding the diverse paths that Christianity has taken throughout the century. The Ethiopian Bible as a symbol of resilience. The survival of the Ethiopian Bible is a remarkable testament to the resilience of the Ethiopian people and their faith. Despite centuries of invasion, political oppression, and religious suppression, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church has managed to preserve its ancient scriptures and pass them down through generations. The Ethiopian Bible is not just a religious text, it is a symbol of Ethiopia's unwavering commitment to its faith and cultural identity. Through times of war, foreign invasion, and political strife, the Ethiopian Bible has remained a central pillar of Ethiopian society. During the Italian invasion of the 1930s, the sacred manuscripts of the Ethiopian Bible were hidden in monasteries and remote locations, ensuring their survival despite the threat of destruction. The Bible's preservation through such turbulent times reflects the Ethiopian people's deep reverence for their spiritual heritage and their determination to keep their sacred texts alive. The Ethiopian Bible and its growing influence in global Christianity. In recent years, the Ethiopian Bible has attracted increasing attention from scholars, theologians, and religious seekers around the world. The discovery of ancient manuscripts, the ongoing efforts to translate the texts into modern languages, and the growing interest in Ethiopian Christianity have all contributed to the Bible's expanding influence in the global Christian community. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church's unique interpretation of Christianity, as embodied in its sacred scriptures, provides an alternative view of the early Christian church and the development of Christian doctrine. The inclusion of additional books, such as the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, and the Gospel of the Hebrews, offers fresh theological insights that challenge mainstream Christian teachings and encourage deeper reflection on the faith's origin. As interest in the Ethiopian Bible grows, so too does its influence in shaping discussions on Christian doctrine, biblical interpretation, and the nature of Scripture. Scholars and theologians are increasingly recognizing the importance of the Ethiopian Bible in understanding the diversity of early Christian beliefs and practices. Its inclusion of ancient texts, some of which were excluded or forgotten by other Christian traditions, sheds new light on the development of Christian theology and the evolution of the biblical canon. The role of the Ethiopian Church in preserving the Bible.
The Ethiopian Orthodox Church continues to play a crucial role in preserving and protecting the Ethiopian Bible. The Church's commitment to its sacred texts is reflected in its ongoing efforts to